Well, I guess I'm trying to find out, not the meaning of life, but find out what it's all about, why are we here? Where did we come from? It's just a strong driver, It's not to actually demonstrate anything, it's actually to for me to find out who I am and where we are.
Do you think you're getting any closer to the answer?
I don't think there is an answer. Yeah, so one of the themes in this show is actually from the Old Testament, and it's a text that says, "The wind blows wherever it pleases. You hear its sound but cannot tell where it comes from or where it is going." And I think that's quite a profound idea because, it's all about personal destiny. You can see where things are coming from, but you don't know where they come from and where they're going. So that's quite strongly present in this show. Yeah, so it's from a painting by Swiss artist Ferdinand Hodler, who I think is actually one of the great artists who was active at the turn of the 20th century. And he's depicted a walnut tree. And the reason I was attracted to this image was because where we live in Cooma, on a property called Blairgowrie, we also have a walnut tree, which is starting to look like that one in its form. It's standing alone. And so it's a sort of, I think a lot of elements in our garden or our place where we live, I find resonances in the works of other artists. And so that's one of them. And our property is called Blairgowrie, and it is a blossoming world. It's, we have about three acres of garden with very old trees. The other element in this painting is the text at the bottom, which actually comes from an image by Carl Jung, who's a psychoanalyst. And the image in this painting, that sort of circle with the cross and the fiery thing coming around it, is actually from a watercolour by Jung. It comes from his Red Book, which is an amazing book full of his calligraphy and paintings. And one of the subtitles to that image is very powerful. It says, "Be content and tend your garden with modesty." So I like that very much. And I think that's how we've proceeded with our garden. It's not to actually impress people or, to inflate yourself. And the garden at Blairgowrie has been very nurturing for me. I mean, my wife, partner Jenny, has created it on top of an existing garden. And I just walk from the house to the garden and pick a sample of whatever's come up. If it's an iris or at the moment, camellias, yeah. So I have those on my desk where I work. Yeah, so this work is also quite important in relation to the exhibition in Germany because I've done a new, very large work for the new show in Germany, which is called Zurückgelassen, which is German for left behind. It's so the whole title is Zurückgelassen After the Wind, and that's from a work by Lawrence Weiner, the American. And Zurückgelassen means left behind, so it's kind of like we all know what can be left behind by the wind. You know, total disaster area. And some of the handprints that are in this work are in the large work. And there's quite a lot of references in my work to German artists, and I think I was just attracted to their imagery in the 80s. Yeah, well, it's also from an image by Ferdinand Hodler, who was Swiss. So he painted lakes, mountains, often on site. So I guess what was interesting about this was that a landscape like that is kind of diametrically opposed to an Australian landscape. It's kind of like somewhere totally different and somewhere far away. This is actually based on I used an older work which I hadn't really ever shown, and just really added a few extra elements. And the signature in the bottom corner is interesting because very important Chinese artist Zhu Bing did a kind of alphabet that looked Chinese, but it had actually spelt Western words. And we did meet Zhu Bing in Mexico City in an exhibition, and that spells Tillers. So he did that for me. Yeah, well, actually, someone pointed out to me recently that, the room is full of my thoughts, but then because there are sort of sources, they're also full of the thoughts of the sources. And it was actually Claire Fury-Jones who described this walnut tree of Hodler's as a being, which is really a great way of describing it, because we forget that they are also beings. I think living in a garden like I do, it does tune you into a different aspect of life, really. If you use a quotation, it's a very rich kind of work process, because you're kind of alert, to imagery, which can come from anywhere. And I do believe that, this sort of pursuit of so-called originality is kind of completely false. That really artists are looking at other things all the time. I think in the past they would try and hide the fact they might be looking at something. I think especially in Australia, in the earlier periods, you'd be embarrassed to say you were kind of influenced by this or that. But I think it's a fact of life, that everyone is being influenced by things, and that's the natural kind of way things happen. Practically, all the words in all these paintings are done from paper stencils, and I just have a huge stack of paper stencils of phrases or words that I've used. Sometimes I compose works. I don't compose the works, I just sort of, randomly pick fragments of text, and that becomes the basis for a work. Also, I think I'm a very curious kind of person, and so I collect books. I mean, I collect really stuff on artists that I'm drawn to. And, you know, they're kind of not filed, you know, in a kind of rational way necessarily. Also, I keep a what I call daily research, which are just notes on single sheets of paper, which I've been doing for about, over 20 years really. So I have about 8,000 of those. And so it's not that I refer to them all the time, but I've kind of noted, you know, what's kind of interested me at a certain moment. So also the work has its own momentum. I don't have to kind of think, oh, well, what am I going to do next? You know, I have kind of many works in progress, and, you know, the work, in a way, the totality of the work also determines what I do next. Well, I guess I'm trying to find out, not the meaning of life, but find out what it's all about, you know, why are we here? I mean, where did we come from, you know? It's just a strong driver, you know. So it's not to actually demonstrate anything, it's actually to kind of, for me, to find out, have some understanding of who I am and where we are.
Do you think you're getting any closer to the answer?
I don't think there is an answer.